Belgium fought incredibly bravely during the First World War, but are sadly, in the eyes of the general public, an often overlooked, forgotten power. I'm not here to discuss all their heroic battles that held back the Germans, buying France just enough time in the north to prepare, as that is not my area. I will be talking about their geopolitical position, their diplomatic negotiations, their neutrality, and their stark willingness to defend it. The basic story we all know. The German Schlieffen Plan was to invade France through Belgium, catch them by surprise, knocking them out of the war early, and then they turn and go all in on Russia. Belgium and Luxembourg therefore had war declared on them, and were invaded as they refused to comply with German demands for access. However, what many don't know is that German-Belgian discussions on this matter actually began all the way back in 1904. It was Kaiser Wilhelm's birthday, and during his birthday dinner he was sat next to King Leopold II of Belgium. The Kaiser openly stated that he expects Belgium to side with Germany in the event of a war against France, and then went on to offer potential prizes, such as lands in northern France and the Crown of Old Burgundy, a fancy, prestigious title. Leopold was taken aback, stating that he and his ministers would never do such a thing, to only then get mocked by the Kaiser, who stated, "A true king is not reliant on ministers," and then followed with the line, "Germany would feel the need to push through on purely strategic principles," basically a threat of invasion, all the way back in 1904. It is said that Leopold was so outraged and thrown off by these demands that he put his helmet on the wrong way round when getting up to finally leave. What an ordeal. Not only did the Kaiser attempt to ally and threatened war with the King of Belgium in a single conversation, but he also managed to give away Germany's secret plan, basically telling him it was Germany's strategy to invade France through Belgium. Whether Leopold picked up on this and warned the Entente is unknown. In 1914, when the world was spinning into chaos, Germany tried once more, but through a diplomat this time, sending an ultimatum to Belgium, demanding access and support. Belgium refused, and their then King, Albert I, stated in the Belgian Parliament, "Never since 1830 has a graver hour sounded for Belgium. The strength of our right and the need of Europe for our autonomous existence make us still hope that the dreaded events will not occur." 1 hour later, Germany declared war. Interestingly, this ultimatum was another big mistake by Germany. It made the Entente aware of their plans, buying them 12 more hours to prepare, and united Belgium under an anti-German position in a war where time and unity would be absolutely everything. And that's how Belgium found themselves in the war. The reason why they declined is obvious. They were a neutral state, with a neutrality backed by Britain. Although a fragile guarantee of neutrality, it was a backing all the same. The Belgians fought to maintain this neutrality and their own independence. Belgian war aims were mostly centred around King Albert's 4 points, 3 of which I will go over. 1. King Albert wished for a restoration of the Belgian economy, along with expansion to compensate for the losses surmounted in the war. They received some war reparations, but nowhere near what they had hoped for. 2. The creation of a buffer state on the left side of the Rhine to protect them from Germany in the future. This of course did not happen, but they got it as a demilitarised zone at least. 3. For the 1839 Treaty of London, basically the treaty that guaranteed Belgian neutrality, to be redesigned. Britain was willing to guarantee Belgian independence if they would remain neutral, but King Albert refused this, basically wanting a more active Belgium, perhaps feeling its position as a neutral state had been too greatly betrayed, ultimately becoming a junior partner with France. Despite the absolute destruction of Belgium by Germany, Belgium was against overly harsh demands of the new Weimar Republic, not wanting to antagonise them, believing a vengeful Germany would be a dangerous Germany, but this was, of course, ignored. They received the small strip of land of Eupen-Malmedy, along with Rwanda and Burundi as colonies. On the other hand, Belgium requested a part of Dutch Zeeland. Netherlands, being neutral in the war, meant that this Belgian demand did not go down that well. Despite making some bold and eventually correct predictions of the future, these were ignored at the time. In addition, with many of the requests being denied, Belgium is seen as another power who won the war, yet failed at the peace talks. Join me next time, where I will be covering Bulgaria in a similar way. And comment down below any other smaller, lesser known nations of the First World War that you want to know a little bit more about on the geopolitical and diplomatic side. I hope you enjoyed and learned something. Leave a like if you did, subscribe for more, share with anybody you think may be interested. It really helps me out. But for now, until the next one, this has been the history of diplomacy.